fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight we've got the Rockingham 150 here with Kylou Glass in the Gen 4 series. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, we head to the Rock tonight. She's a dangerous one.
Yeah, you know, and this is our second season with the Gen 4 car, and just like last season, very similar schedule, right? I mean, we're starting off the season, second race of the year, going to one of the toughest tracks you could race on this game in its current form, the Rock. It is dangerous, it is tough, and it'll grind those tires to a pulp.
Well, it will, and I think that's obviously going to be the key here. I mean, if you had to give up track position here, Jared, 4 or 5 spots to save tires, would you do it?
Yeah, I think you have to. And this track, Dean, we talk about a lot of times, you know, the aerodynamic effects, right? And this track, yes, there is aero. Yes, there is aero with these cars, but let me tell you something that there isn't with these cars. There isn't a lot of grip, all right? And you're going to need to conserve that grip as long as you possibly can in this race in order to have a chance to be at the front. You're going to have to be patiently aggressive to be a contender in this race here tonight, Dean.
You definitely are. We take a look in on Michael Walker II, last year's champion out here. I think he'll be pretty good here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, you know, we go back to last year's race. It was a battle between him and George Leal. It wasn't particularly close either. They were the dominant drivers. Michael Walker led 99 laps, late race caution. George Leal comes to the front, leads the last 15, and takes the victory. But really, for all intents and purposes, had this race gone green, which it did for the most part, 1 caution, 3 laps, Michael Walker would have likely won this race. Instead, he had to battle with George Leal at the end. They still won, or still finished 1-2, and nearly 10 seconds ahead of third place man Wes Pistol, who was the runner-up in the championship.
Looking on James Suggs here. He's got the Tony the Tiger on the hood. That's a childhood favorite for me. You know, I'm still walking around saying, they're great.
Yeah, I have that diecast, one of my favorites. Terry Labonte ran a lot of really good paints. I mean, you had the corny paint with the Kellogg's rooster basically prominent. You had the Looney Tunes cars, of course, that he ran in 02 and 03. So, yeah, a lot of great Kellogg's paints out there over the years.
Absolutely. Speaking of paints, there's another one on Ian Spear. This is a 32. I believe this is Daryl. I always get them mixed up, though. Maybe we have to go to the bumper. No names on the bumper to help me out tonight, Jared.
Yeah, Daryl's in that Skull Bandit 32 machine. So he's running that old Terry Gant style paint, not the Ken Schrader style paint. And then you look over at Ian Spear there. He is running his own paint. It looks like it says Ian's Corner of Faith on it. So very nice paint, but not a throwback or anything.
No, good looking car though, nonetheless. As everybody getting ready, warm up coming to a conclusion. They're going to begin to grid up, and we'll get this thing going here. Race 2 of the season. Last week, Jared, refresh my memory. I think the Rifleman?
Yeah, we did get the win. Jason Ratliff, the Rifleman, did get the win last week at Charlotte. Him and Troy Torreson battled up front. Chris Owens was the dominant driver. A little controversy in that race there under caution. And I believe that some cooler heads prevailed, and Chris Owens here tonight in the race.
Yeah, definitely was a little controversy. Those two will line up in the front row. It's Jason, the Rifleman Ratliff, on the point with a time of 24.541. Chris Owens will be on his outside. Look for possible fireworks up front. The big dog, Greg Ratliff, will be on third place. Ross Weiss will start fourth. Of course, Weiss also one of those championship competitors last year. Tom Ashley and Tony Ratliff will be in row 3. Your champion, Michael Walker II, will be 7th. Wes Pistol on his outside. Then you got Ripka and Fleming in row 5. And Jason Spear and the Toad Man, Todd Gilly, in row 6.
You look at row 6 there, and then row 7, you got Rachel Hunt, Ian Spear. Then you have Tom Lester and Mickey Spear making his debut this season there in row 8. Then you have a few drivers that did not take time. They include Herb Ashley, Bob Lapreme, James Suggs, Daryl Spear, and Austin Krause there at the back, Dean. All those drivers in the race, so they'll be lining up, taking the green here in a minute.
All right, all set, all ready. Guys, got to be careful with Ratliff out front. Jason, that is. He has been dominant from the lead in the past. Pace car darts off the track. We're ready to go racing here in the Rockingham 150. Ooh, great start by Owens.
Great, yeah, exactly. Great start by Owens. Jason Ratliff spun the tires, and that was crucial there. I mean, we saw this before last week, Dean. Chris Owens got out there to a really resounding lead, and nobody was really able to chase him down. We talked, to second place finisher Troy Torres, and he said he really thought that as the race went on, they were going to be able to chase him down. Will we see more of that tonight, where Chris Owens kind of sneaks out to a lead, and then all of a sudden, nobody's able to cut that lead down?
Yeah, part of that tire wear just in these cars has really not been as much as you might think.
No, it has, but not at all. It's been kind of weird, to say the least. The tires, they wear quite a bit, but the lap time just doesn't fall off. And that's really the crucial problem. I think the last time we were here, Dean, we only had about 2 seconds of fall off, which is not really what happened in real life. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. Ross Weiss made his way up to 3rd. Greg Ratliff down to 4th. Wes Pistol, he's coming in a hurry. He's picked up 3 and moved into 5th.
Pistol, last year's runner-up, I believe, or at least one of our championship contenders. That is for sure. But doing a great job. He finished 3rd in this race the last year we were here, Dean, and that was, he didn't lead any laps, but that was one of those races you kind of look back at where he salvaged a good finish. Because he was not really running that good in that race last year at all, Dean. Average running position of, I apologize. He was actually running really well in that race the entire time, running around 5th place the entire time.
Yeah, I think he had a bit of a fuel situation or something. I can't remember.
That is, yeah, I think that you might be right on that. But he did end up finishing 3rd and still a solid race. But boy, oh boy, you're starting to see right now Ross Weiss kind of putting the pressure on Jason Ratliff, but Jason Ratliff gets a good run off turn 4, and you look there, Chris Owens still opening that gap up just a little bit.
Yeah, Owens with the fastest lap of the race a couple laps ago. Pistol loose on exit there. He'll have to fall in line behind Greg Ratliff.
Yeah, and for those that watched last year's race, well, I shouldn't say last year, it was about 4 months ago when we were here back in July. It is very difficult to pass on the bottom. So you can give up the bottom lane all you want. The car behind you, what they have to do, Dean, is kind of angle and drive straight underneath of you off the corner in order to make the move. You're never going to make the move side by side in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is a little bit easier on the bottom because of the banking situation, how the track kind of breaks away. But 1 and 2, very difficult to make a move off of turn 2 because of the way it flattens out there.
Yeah, super difficult track. Tom Ashley just set his best lap of the race, so he's showing a little patience here, waiting for lap 8 to set his best lap. Tom Lester further back doing the same, and so is Robert Lapreme in the Looney Tunes machine. So interesting to see your fast lap come on lap 8 or 9 here, Jared.
Yeah, and I think that's good, provided he hasn't slid the tires. I talk to drivers all the time, and they're like, well, I'm not putting down these high fast lap times. I can do 24 ones or whatever the number is, right? And I'm like, well, the lap time doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is how you're driving the car during that lap. Because if you're still scrubbing the tires to the corner and you're still, sliding it on entry or sliding it on exit, it doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going to go. You're still going to put heat in the tires. So it'll be interesting to see how Tom Ashley, if he is actually saving some tire there and find some pace here later in the run.
Yeah, some great points there, Jared. I mean, we talk to people, obviously, both of us do a lot of this talking to people about this stuff. And, all things must be together. Inputs, wheel inputs, gas inputs, all, like you just said, a lap time alone, same lap times are not equal, I would say that.
Oh, and a little bit deeper in the pack, we have Herb Ashley and James Suggs going at it. James Suggs trying his hardest on the bottom, Dean, and he got a little bit loose as that car kind of pushed loose off of turn 2. Herb Ashley back here, this is a battle for 17th, doing a great job of kind of holding James down and preventing James from being able to make that run. It looks like Herb's going to hold him off for now back there in the back of the pack, but these guys still battling hard, and Herb Ashley loose off turn 2.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about right there. You can get loose like that and still maybe not putting down a heavy lap time, but that's going to hurt the car, isn't it, Jared?
Absolutely, and a lot of heat. Ironically, Rockingham tends to suffer a push loose because you have so much banking, Dean, and we'll go on board and we'll kind of talk about that when we go on board somebody. But the back straightaway it flattens out hard. So you're thinking, oh, I got loose. I put wear in the right rear tire. In fact, you probably actually put a lot of heat in the right front, and it just let go and reached that threshold, Dean, where it lost grip, and that's why you got loose. So a lot of people think they've heated up the right rear tire, but in reality, they've actually heated up the right front here.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Years and years on the service as we go on board with Shane Fleming here, and we'll see how he's doing tonight.
And you look at Shane, driver Dean we've talked about before, that has improved. You go down to turn 1, so he's running that middle line. This is a great line to run, and watch him right here, Dean. So he didn't get quite down to the yellow line coming off turn 2. I recommend drivers back up that center and try to get to that yellow line on exit, because that gives you so much grip and doesn't use up the tire nearly as much on the exit of turn 2. Let's watch this again. I'm not going to say anything, but just watch how he gets through the center of that corner and how he has that car pointed just a little bit too tight in the center, and he's going to go way up to the high side. Now watch him drive down the hill. And he's not quite getting as low as I would like to see through there, Dean.
Yeah, the car's being stubborn, and that's probably because the entrance, and I've seen a lot of this lately on the service, Jared, where guys are overdriving the entrance to the corners. I think on purpose. I don't think like they're making horrible mistakes. It's kind of a new technique. We've seen Rachel Hunt do that a lot in the past, for reference.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people talk about being tight on entry and how that's a new phenomenon on the service. But in reality, a lot of drivers just drive in deep. And I think, before, when we had different car models and different options available to us, you could drive in deep and not have that push feeling or not feel tight on entry. But now I think a lot of the guys haven't figured out quite how to adapt their driving style for what we have right now.
And it's a constant moving target, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah, absolutely.
Weiss in a battle with Greg Ratliff. That battle for 4th place on the track. Owens still your leader, still running great times, but the Rifleman is starting to run him down here, Jared.
Yeah, we look at those lap times, Dean. I mean, 2/10 that last lap. That's quite a bit for Jason Ratliff on the advantage over Chris Owens currently.
Let's go on board with the Rifleman here and just see what we can figure out from his driving in comparison to Fleming. And already you can see him coming down a little more, Jared.
Yeah, I'm a little behind there, so we'll have to catch up to this on this coming lap here, if I'm able to do so here. And you see him coming off turn 4 there. And look at how much he's fighting the wheel on the straightaway. Something I didn't point out in Fleming, but this is, you're kind of managing that car. But look at this entry to 1. So use that corner and then watch him head down the hill right to the yellow line. Doesn't quite get there, but still a little bit better line than Fleming. 3 and 4, again, I mean, there's a middle line, there's a high line. It just depends on what you're feeling. Highline tends to favor drivers that like a little bit of a tighter car at this track. So if you're feeling tighter, run higher. But get up against that wall. Now right here, the lap traffic, Dean, going to play a little bit of a part. We'll see what Austin Krause does and where he elects to go to. He's going to go to the bottom.
This track will make you nervous, Jared, around lap traffic, won't it?
A little bit, and it's not because Austin Krause or anything that he's doing wrong. No. It's just that everything happens very quick here, and it's very difficult to react compared to a lot of tracks.
Well, the tracks are bumpy, and the cars are coming from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom. There's just a lot going on in these corners.
Yep, exactly.
So Owens with Ratliff chasing, Pistols moved up 5 into 3rd. So Krause pulling off. He might be done already. Greg Ratliff 4th, Weiss 5th. Michael Walker starting to come forward here. That's no surprise.
No, it's not. Like I said, he dominated the last time we were here. Just had a late race caution kind of change the trajectory of that race, but otherwise was very solid.
Early goings here in the Kylou Glass Gen 4 Series. Second race of the season. The Rifleman getting controversial perhaps when on opening night. He battles from second here tonight.
Yeah, and you know, I do want to touch on that. You know, we heard his explanation. I do think there was some genuineness of that, and I think we kind of discussed that in the last broadcast. What I'm a little bit surprised of, Dean, and you know, maybe I'll get in trouble by saying this, but even though I do believe that there was an accident there, I'm kind of surprised that Jason Ratliff did not get a penalty. A points penalty, and you know, that's just me. I get it. I understand that, like, you know, well, if he didn't do anything wrong, why penalize him? And I just think it's one of those things. You have to be aware of your situation. You took out a guy that had led 100 laps out of the 125 we ran. Just my opinion, but you know, which.
Well, I think, you know, this goes to you as sort of being a stats guy too, Jared, and this is going to sound a little weird, of course, because it comes from a Canadian. But nonetheless, you know, I'm going to relate the stats guys to being a rules guy as well. You know, you are taking it on someone's word. I know some pretty crafty liars, and I'm not by any means saying Jason Ratliff is not telling the truth. I believe he is. But when you subject yourself to believing or not believing someone, you can run into trouble, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's just my opinion on the situation. And, you know, I'm not running the league or anything like that, so I don't want to, you know, act like that my words should influence any decisions. I just, for me personally, whether it was a lie, whether it was the truth, you know, I feel like at the very minimum you have to be aware of your surroundings in that moment. And, you know, that should be some sort of deduction. But here we are right now as things stand. Everybody's full points, and we'll see if that impacts the championship as we go forward, Dean.
Absolutely. As I think about all my ex-wives and whether they were lying to me or not, I never could tell, Jared.
Well, yeah, you know, that's a difficult one.
As far as I remember, I was a beautiful man, and well, we'll leave it at that.
We like to have fun.
How about Lance Ripka back here in 8th place right now? He's picked up 1 spot on the night.
Yeah, you know, Lance is one of those drivers, Dean. You know, he's been patient with this car. He had some really good runs last year with this car, and he had some really good races. But it just seemed like he was just a little bit off. You know, he finished 6th in points. He missed some races, obviously. But it just seemed like he was just a little bit behind the curve on some of the other drivers. Don't have any data points for this racetrack. He did not run last year's race here, but Lance probably trying to figure this thing out because it is a whale of a ride to do.
Yeah, this is a tough one here tonight. Lap 33. What do you think these guys are doing tonight? I think we're looking at probably a one-stopper, Jared?
Yeah, Rockingham was a one-stopper last time we were here. You can open the pits from my notes. Trying to read my handwriting. I think the first pit stop was lap 70, Dean, if I can read this correctly. And then we had somebody pit on lap 90. So there you go.
Yeah, that's the problem with
Ooh, a
leaving yourself
little
notes.
contact, Dean. Sorry. 97 machine, whoever that is, kind of came up the track, and Jason Ratliff got into the wall trying to avoid the car. Apologies there. That was Mickey Spear. Mickey, they did not make contact, but just kind of shifted up the track just a little bit on the straightaway and kind of pinched Jason Ratliff up into the higher groove, and he got in the wall. I don't think there's any damage on the 55.
Mickey there, actually the 82, he's got the wrong number on the machine. That Sharpie car.
And that did cost Jason Ratliff some time. That lap time was about a half a second slower than Chris Owens. Owens is fighting that car, Dean. I mean, I was watching him the past few laps where we were just kind of Neanderthaling through some different things, and Owens is battling for his life out there.
We must go back to that. Was that Neanderthaling through the
No, not Neanderthaling, meanderthaling.
Meandering? Is that what?
Yes, well, it's meander and Neanderthaling.
That's crazy. I mean, I gotta write this one down.
That's a good word. It's not my creation. It's actually my wife uses that word, and I was like, "That's not a word." And she's like, "Yes, it is." And
this is
like
some of the battles you used to have playing Scrabble. That's not a word.
Exactly. But it's a fantastic word, and I use it all the time now because it's like you're kind of being some Neanderthals, which is what we do up here in the booth, and we're just meandering through life, Dean.
I love it, Jared. Tell the wife I agree. It's a word.
There we go.
Pistol making his way by Mickey Spear there. He'll do that successfully. So Pistol in third here, looking good. Not really surprised at that, are you, Jared?
No, I mean, last time we were here, he had an average running position in the top 5. He led just a couple laps, didn't lead a lot of laps, but was very solid. He also had was one of our leaders in quality passes, Dean, and that's showing it here tonight again as we come back to the Rock for the second time.
I haven't kept up to date on Tennessee. How's old Tennessee been doing in the college?
And sorry, Ross Weiss and Mickey Spear a little precarious off of turn 2 there. Everybody gets through clean. Tennessee not. I mean, they're fine. I mean, they're better than Kentucky, but I don't think they've had the season they wanted to have.
All right, Jared Kerr, a Kentucky man, so we'll get updates as the season goes along.
Well, there's only one more game left, so not many more updates to go.
Well, there's always hockey or something, Jared.
True.
Myself, I pay close attention to the cheerleader tryouts and the competitions.
That makes a lot of sense, really.
And some volleyball.
I think that's coming to an end pretty soon, too.
Okay. I'll have to check into some water polo or something. I don't know where I'm going, folks. There's a look at Shane Fleming in the 90 machine. He's was real up close by the wall there. Looks like he's fighting this thing a little bit here, Jared. And there he's going to drive it right into the wall, bounce right off it.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers having that problem, Dean. Is that was what you were doing there a second ago, Dean, was a perfect Neanderthaling example. But Shane Fleming just trying to get that car going in the right direction. Last time we were here, ran outside the top 10 most of the night. Definitely did. I mean, he just didn't really fit with him, Dean. And sometimes you just find tracks that fit with your style, and sometimes you just don't.
I don't think this track fits with anybody's style, Jared, but that's just me. As we hop on board quickly with James Suggs as he darts underneath the Rachel Hunt, back to full camera action. Boy, a tight battle ensuing here.
Yeah, it's a battle for just outside the top 10, around 13th position there. Suggs gets around him, and Dean, you were talking about people that you don't think like this track, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I think there was one guy that we raced with, Bobby Terrell, that loved Rockingham.
That could be, Jared. I mean, we were still
Yeah.
running with Bobby to this day, and I know Bobby likes just about every track, to be honest with you, but I don't remember his thoughts specifically on Rockingham.
Yeah, I feel like it was Bobby, or maybe, you know, some TJ Bartel out there. Maybe I can't really remember, but it was somebody like that. That was kind of like the old veteran that was
Well,
like.
I've told this story before, Jared, but this was the first track that I came on iRacing, and I remember thinking to myself, what in the hell have I got myself into? You know, I thought this was iRacing in general. I thought this is not what I'm expecting here, and it took a
Right.
little getting used to.
Yeah, that's fair. That is very fair. It's not a track that you know, you just jump on for the first time and expect to go for it.
Robert Lapreme looking to pick up a spot. He'll back out of it here as he's behind Ian Spear in that 34 machine. He's got a bit of a run now. So he looks like he's a little bit better here, but he'll gain time and lose time, Jared. And that's kind of this track in a nutshell. You got to be good on entry, exit, in the middle, everywhere. And if you're just good in one half, you're going to give and then lose.
Yeah, exactly. And 1 and 2, you know, the diameter or the corner radius, I should say, a lot tighter than 3 and 4, and it really makes it hard. And you know, the other thing too is you're trying to battle for positions. I mean, right in front of our leader, Ian Spear, Bob Lapreme battling hard, and now you got Chris Owens coming up on you. You got, you know, Jason Ratliff who's chasing down Chris Owens. So you have a lot of the time as the race goes on, you have a lot of this battle within a battle and race within a race type scenarios that come in, and it makes the racing very difficult as the run goes on.
And we're on board with Owens as Lapreme above him smacks the wall. Owens with evasive maneuvers here. That'll change his entry here. Great job by Owens. This is, I mean, you can take nothing for granted here at Rockingham.
No, and the other thing too is, and it may be fixed, but the last time I drove it, which was probably this year, it might have been like January, but it was this year for sure. They still had not fixed the problem where if you hit the wall in the right spot, the tires will grip the wall and kind of launch you up on your side, and that can cause all kinds of problems there. But so far tonight, nobody's really hit the wall in the back straightaway, so I haven't seen that happen yet.
All right, as we run through our top 5, Weiss at the back of that. There's Tony Ratliff. I mean, we nicknamed him the Gunslinger the other day, so the Gunslinger here into 6. This is a guy that you just can't sleep on anymore. I mean, the 6 has really been on a roll.
Well, if you remember, Dean, like when we started out the season last year, Tony Ratliff was up in the front of the year. I mean, he was up in the front doing a really good job. In fact, last time we were here at Rockingham, he finished in the top 5, ran around 8th all night long, but did salvage a top 5 toward the end there. So Tony, very good here. He actually led 4 laps and had 4 fastest race laps. So Tony's got some speed when it comes to this track. Wouldn't be surprised to see him creep around the top 5 before this thing's over.
Yeah, and I've already forgotten.
Caution.
Caution. Looks like maybe Suggs involved. Mickey Spear, perhaps. Well, there's Mickey down the track. Bottom. Looks like Suggs might be okay. I don't think he was involved. We'll have a look at it. So here's Mickey all alone on the track. He'll just drive it up into the wall. There goes Suggs. Yes, Suggs was involved. He got into him as Spear came down the track. So Spear around. Caution here.
And this is going to be interesting because I think that these drivers are right on the cusp. If everything is correct with my writing here, I've obviously scribbled stuff down that's not prime notes or anything. We had drivers pit around lap 90 last time under green, so I think everybody is good to go on gas from here on out, but it could be touch and go if that number is just a little bit off.
Very interesting. Looks like Tom Lester will be your lucky dog, so that'll be good news for the 78 machine. And here come our leaders. Lots of spacing should make it easy for Owens and Ratliff to get out in their positions. Everybody down into their stalls. The front four on pit road, all in clean.
This is going to be a crucial pit stop for these drivers, Dean. This could be the race. Here comes Owens off pit road. Kilby first off. Pistol with a great pit stop. Ratliff barely beats him off. Then we got Greg. Looks like Ross Weiss barely edges Tony Ratliff, Walker, and then Ripka. Spear at 3-wide battle for 10th position, I believe. That was won by Tom Ashley, but Gilly was right there as well.
Yeah, good little battle there getting off of pit road. So we'll re-rack them here.
Yeah, and you know, the caution comes out at kind of a good spot. The field had kind of started to space out. I think we were starting to get maybe a little bit of battle between these top two on the track, but it is good news for guys that were starting to find their groove. Wes Pistol, he's been up 5 spots, and when you start that far back, you're kind of at a disadvantage. It's hard to overcome that disadvantage.
Yeah, good for him.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the reverse might be true for the Walkers and the Tony Ratliffs of the world, who are great on the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other side of Pistol, you got guys that were kind of struggling. Tom Ashley down 5 spots, Shane Fleming down 6 spots. Guys that were starting to kind of lose the car a little bit. Now they get an opportunity to kind of go back at it, may have learned something in that first run. So this caution could be an interesting one, coming at what I would consider the perfect time for a large majority of these drivers to kind of reset and re-rack without losing that long run that still could come.
All right, don't forget, first restart, the Rifleman spun the tires a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see how it goes here. Good start. It looks like, again, Jason Ratliff a little slow through the gears. That's going to bring Pistol underneath them. So he's struggling on these restarts, Jared.
Yeah, it's almost like, he's using a clutch, right? I mean, it's like he's manually doing the clutching, and it's really affecting him. But I don't know if that's the case. But, man, that's tough to lose a spot like that. Pistol right around him trying to take advantage of Ratliff. The other Ratliff, Dean, Greg Ratliff, take advantage by Ross Weiss, who gets underneath him. And now you got a Tony on Greg battle for the back half of the top 5.
Yeah, lots going on out here.
Michael Walker sitting right there watching this battle ensue, and Lance Ripka behind him. Jason Spear taking his nose up into the top 10 for the first time tonight. And then you got Tom Ashley just right on the cusp of that battle.
Toad Man
Ross
right there.
Toad Man doing a great job, up 1 spot here tonight. And Herb Ashley, James Suggs, both up 5 and 6 spots respectively. So shout out to those 2 drivers. Having a good night, just being calm and clean, and that's what you need to do here at Rockingham.
He's trying to put the pressure on the Rifleman, perhaps making him drive a little quicker. Meanwhile, Owens, a lap ago, fastest lap of the race.
And that's the dichotomy, right? I mean, there's a lot of team stuff going on, I'm sure. And I apologize, I don't know exactly the team lineup here. I feel like some of it's changed from last year, but Weiss might be trying to help out, somebody like Pistol or somebody like Chris Owens up in front of him and try to put the pressure on Ratliff, make him use his stuff up just a little bit more than he wants to.
And some of that KG team stuff coming from Jared Carr. You got to watch him and put down those team orders.
I mean, it's a smart move. If I know I'm a 4th place car and I know my teammate's going to go out there and dominate, I'm going to put pressure on a guy that I think might be his biggest competitor and make him run his stuff off. You know what I mean? I think that sometimes you got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him, right?
And know when to put him in the wall, Jared.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. I might have implied it.
Greg Ratliff back here in fifth. Tony Ratliff. Those are brothers, if I have it right this time. Of course, Tony's son, Jason Ratliff, up in third. So the Ratliffs permeating the top 10 right now.
Yeah, and we talked about last time, Jason Ratliff was running in around fourth position most of the race last time we were here. Greg Ratliff also was running around in the top 10 most of the night. He got caught up in that last race caution and ended up not getting the result he wanted or probably deserved, finishing 18th. But, he is very solid here, Dean. And, I'd like to see Greg have a good run. I feel like the Gen 4 car hasn't quite clicked with him yet. I feel like we see glimpses where we just like, man, that's the Greg Ratliff we know. And then there's some races where it's like, man, Greg Ratliff, I don't know, just doesn't have it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little hit and a miss for a while, and I think that is nothing other than, track time, Jared. Track time, the most important thing that there is, and, it comes and goes for all of us.
Yeah, it's very fair. I mean, he gets right down there on the yellow line, and that's going to give him a lot of looseness off the corner. That's going to open the door for Tony to kind of stick his nose in there a little bit, Dean. I thought he was going to have a better run off turn 4.
Yeah, a little tentative there from Tony. No surprise there. They're going to give each other a little space. Herb Ashley, heavy damage on the front end. He's on pit road. You're not sure what happened to the 63 machine.
Yeah, I'll get a look in on the 63 machine, Dean, but I do want to say it's probably best for Tony or Greg not to have too many problems with Thanksgiving on the horizon. Don't want to have awkward conversations at the dinner table. Right?
Yeah, definitely those tables, I personally am all about it. I hope there's a little bit of fight here and we carry it over to Thanksgiving. That makes it highly entertaining, Jared.
Absolutely. So Herb Ashley, checking in on him. Pushed loose off turn 2, tried to hold it together, just couldn't do it, hit the inside wall in turn 3, and Herb Ashley has taken that car to the garage end of the night for the 63 machine. Unfortunate, Dean, as he was running in 11th position when that happened.
Yeah, tough deal for him. He'll get her on the trailer and get ready for next week. Spear currently in 9th, Tom Ashley in 10th right behind him. Then you got the Toad Man, Rachel Hunt, and James Suggs, who's up 6 now. Let's go on board with James here. He seems like he's got a handle on things tonight as he breaks loose off the corner, Jared.
Yeah, you look at James making his season debut. I think he ran one race last year in this car. Dean, and you're watching James here. He's did not qualify, so he started out back, just kind of feeling his way around here tonight. You see him right there, point that car in the middle, run up to the high side, and he's really doing a good job, Dean, of releasing that wheel and getting straight off, but he's getting too much power. And the reason why I know that is because the car is dancing on exit. And if the car is dancing on exit, you're using too much of the loud pedal there. Coming through 3 and 4 here, you see him right there, just a little bit too much of the loud pedal, Dean. Just counter steer on the exit phase of that corner, and you're really putting a lot of heat in that right rear when you do that. But otherwise, I see a lot of good stuff that James is doing here tonight.
He's definitely got speed as he closes in here on Rachel Hunt. Rachel not driving that line I thought you might see from her, that drive in hard to the high side and cut low. We'll stay with this for a sec, see if she does it here. She's really kind of committed to that low line and just diming in the corner a little bit, Jared.
Yeah, that's a great run. I think that's a great line, depending on how you're feeling with the comfort level of the car and also what the car is kind of telling you. And a lot of drivers, Dean, though, they want to run a line, right? They're like, oh, all these guys are running faster up here, and all these guys are running. Oh, James Suggs just about wrecked it behind her. He got loose off turn 4. My goodness, great save there. But Rachel Hunt, wily veteran, she knows what she is feeling that car. And the car is, to her, it's comfortable down there at the bottom, and she's going to, learn what she can push on that car and kind of get more speed out of it, as you see her right there drifting a little bit higher here as the run goes on.
Yeah, the tale of 2 corners out here. Let's go up front. Owens lead now 1.5 seconds over West Pistol. Pistol matching times, perhaps a hair faster. Jason Ratliff, he's hanging in there in third. Then you got Weiss in fourth, Greg Ratliff fifth, Tony Ratliff, Michael Walker, the closer, right where he started, Jared. I think we look for the closer to do closer things later in the race.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Michael Walker hasn't had the night that he had last time we were here. I mean, he started seventh, is seventh. Yes, he could, conceivably pass 3 cars in a lap because they're all nose to tail here and be up into 4th position. But he has not been in the top 5 at all tonight, Dean. And last time he led 99 laps out of 150. Tonight, 0. And we're already 76 laps into this event. So this is a little bit of a shock to me that Michael Walker didn't have the speed that I thought he would coming into it.
Well, I mean, it could be as simple as qualifying, right? I'd be willing to bet if he led that much, he probably qualified up front. And qualifying up front, yeah, I mean, it's just such an advantage, Jared. That's why I work so hard on doing it all the time. Yeah,
I mean, the less drivers you got past, you either have to pass them early in the run and try to get everything back and then hold them off if you use your stuff up, or you have to do the conservative approach, which is, wait around and see if they fall off quicker than you do. And right now tonight, it just hasn't happened for him, or at least we haven't had a long enough run that has enabled him to get that.
Behind him, Ripka almost up into the wall, but he keeps it off there and keeps going. Good little battle. About 5-6 cars in this battle that goes all the way up to fourth place, Ross Weiss.
Yeah, and Ross Weiss, Greg Ratliff, Tony Ratliff, Dean, and even Jason Ratliff, all were battling pretty heavily last time we were here. So it's no surprise to see these 3 together on the racetrack. We had a lot of swaps for position between this crew the last time we were here.
Chris Owens still out front, opening it up. He's opened up another 1/10.5. He comes back on Mickey Spear here. Looks like he'll have no problem there.
Oh, Ripka with a run off of turn 2, but just couldn't do anything with it. Michael Walker held that high side, which is where Ripka wanted to go. Now it's going to be interesting to see as you see that 5-car pack is starting to separate as Ross Weiss and Greg Ratliff kind of start to pull away.
You see all these cars fairly evenly matched. Passing going to be at a premium here. What do you want to do here, Jared? Do you want to just ride underneath someone and be patient, or you want to try and get on their outside? What's the move here?
Well, I don't think you have a choice. I mean, passing on the inside is very difficult. You have to aim the car correctly. You have to basically power down off the corner and be alongside of them down the back straightaway and try to outbrake them into 3 and 4. It's really difficult. You're seeing it right now. 5 cars under a blanket. We did see Greg Ratliff, Dean, while you were talking earlier, get the move done on Ross Weiss, but he got the move done by setting him off of the corner, off 2, diving into 3, and Weiss might have given him the position, really. Didn't battle too hard for him.
Yeah, looks like Greg Ratliff pretty hooked up. Good to see from the 5 machine. Now Tony Ratliff coming up on Weiss, so Weiss perhaps fading a little bit here.
And the key is to come off the high side, Dean, when you're trying to pass somebody and you're right behind him. Get up on the high side and let that car eat up there, the high side, unwrap the wheel and angle down the hill. And you'll have a lot of momentum, and you should be able to get alongside them into 3. It's much easier to put a pass on somebody in 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2. It's very daunting. Dean, these 5 cars come up on lap traffic here. Mickey Spear there in the 97-82 machine is going to be a part of this here in a second.
Yeah, going to be hard for Mickey here. He's got to hold his line here.
Oh, man. That was sight there with Greg.
Hey, Greg getting up close. Mickey trying to avoid him. Touches the wall, almost down into Weiss. So everybody getting through here safely so far. And
Greg Ratliff got up into the wall, Dean. Holy cow.
And Mickey
on entry.
Spear at the end of that cranked the wall as well.
No, Greg did not get into the wall. He actually slid the car on entry, Dean. He slid the car, probably over-braked a little bit, and the car broke loose on the rear, and he walloped the wall with the right rear. I don't know how much damage that will do to that machine, but that is something to keep an eye on as we go forward.
So easy to do here. This track, so demanding. There's spots where the car will unload on you. It's just a tricky track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lead coming down. West Pistol beginning to reel in Chris Owens, our leader. Still looking for sponsorship, by the way, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea if he's leading all these laps to put the Wind Tunnel TV logo on. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
Publicity.
We're going to click off him just because he doesn't have it on there. Pistol Jason, the Rifleman coming as well. You look at lap times, it's Pistol about a tenth faster than Owens and maybe 2/10 faster than the Rifleman. So Pistol early on looks like the man right now, Jared.
Yeah, Pistol, and this is the same thing that happened last time, except that, he got caught up in that, got a little damage in that wreck because it was, I think, around 5th position, 6th position. Greg Ratliff taken out in it. Ross Weiss got damaged. Several drivers got damage in it. And I think if that hadn't happened, and he also underfueled the car, I think that if that hadn't happened, I think that, he could have been somebody that could contended for this victory last time we were here. And tonight he's really putting the show on. But the top three have really established themselves as the drivers to beat here tonight, no matter how you want to slice it up. I mean, it is 4-second gap between Jason and Greg Ratliff right now in that gaggle from 4th place all the way back to about 9th. Only 2-second gap.
Mickey Spear on pit road. Not sure if that's a retirement or a scheduled stop.
It is a retirement. He has pulled it to the garage.
All right. You see Shane Fleming. I think he's coming off or into pit road. I'm not sure which here. Down on the apron. So he's coming in. So that's another possible retirement there.
He was running 15th, Dean. That car, he did get in the wall a couple times. I just wonder if maybe the toe end broke finally on that machine, or maybe he just ran out of tire and was like, I'm going to go ahead and come in.
Owens still leading. Pistol running them down under a second behind now. So the 98 doing what he does here at the Rock.
And Pistol, like I said, last time we were here, he was the 3rd best driver, Dean. I mean, George Leal was just barely better than him, the winner of the race. So, I mean, Michael Walker was the dominant driver, but otherwise Pistol was right there with him the whole time. So it is going to be interesting to see how this transpires. Now, obviously, Chris Owens, he didn't run last time we were here, so don't have any data points on him except what we've seen here tonight. But it has been a dominant performance, and we've already talked about, Dean, catching a driver is one thing here. Passing him is a totally another ball game.
Absolutely. Rachel Hunt, she made a stop as well. I think that was scheduled. It seems a little off schedule here with 55 laps to go. I really don't know.
Yeah, I think that there might have been some contact, Dean. I'm not 100% sure, but that car had just gone away from her after that little contact, I believe, that she may have been involved in. I don't know for sure.
You want to see a car that's going away. We look in on Lance Ripka here. He just did the old D-die-do, as Baron Lebowski would say, and he's doing it again. That car very unhappy, Jared.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This track can really sneak up on you as this run goes on. The other thing I've noticed too, Dean, is we got a giant cloud over the speedway, and it was a little bit sunny. All of a sudden, those track temps are starting to come down quite a bit here, and that's going to make it really difficult to adjust to that handling as this run goes on. We got several drivers on pit road. Ross Weiss is pitting from 4th.
Yeah, Lapreme in, Weiss is in. So Weiss, like you said, gave up 4th. The track 128 right now, Jared.
Yeah, it was 135 when we started, so there you go. But Dean, I do wonder, we pitted right on the cusp of being able to make it. It is tight. It was going to be really tight, and maybe you had to save a little gas. And we got Jason Ratliff in, Dean, so we cannot make it on fuel. James Suggs is in. Pit stops are ongoing right now for everybody in the race.
Wow. Early pit stops here. I mean, I look in on my pit board, Jared. We pitted on lap 54. We're looking at 44 laps with 52 left. These are short pits from these guys. They're just not happy with their cars.
Yeah, maybe. I can't imagine you give up third position, though, if you weren't going to be able to make it on fuel. But Rockingham, Darlington, a couple other tracks are still the few tracks on the service where you do have to, you can run out of tire before you run out of fuel.
Let's talk about this track heat, Jared. This time of year, is this an accurate track temp? I mean, I got to think we're setting these dates back to, as Greg Ratliff comes on pit road, these dates in the summer, because I don't think this track would be this hot on this date, would it?
Yeah, July 13th is what date we're running.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, 86 air, 128.
Owens
And here comes our leader, Owens in.
Yeah, crazy. Owens early stop, fairly scheduled, I would say. So the 26 in. Walker comes in as well. I'm super surprised that everybody's coming in this early.
Yeah, I would have thought we'd see somebody try to stretch this thing out, because, I mean, we did have some guys do 90 or 88 laps last time we were here, Dean, and if that's the case, I'm just really baffled. Now, granted, I did not write down the weather. That could also play a factor. So.
There's a look at Jason Spear, the 83 machine. He's up 7 into 4th. He's been looking better and better as this run goes along.
Here comes Pistol, our race leader, Dean, on to pit road.
So Pistol looking to cover off Owens here. He comes in. Tom Ashley was in as well.
So Tony Ratliff going to take over the lead.
Yes, sir. The gunslinger, if you will, is out front leading here at the Rock. 47 to go at the line.
So what's Greg's nickname? The other Ratliffs have a nickname. We got the Rifleman, the Gunslinger.
Greg's the big dog. You know that's
the big dog.
That's it. I mean, he earned that name, and you know he's got to get back into victory lane to keep it. I think, Jared.
Yeah, the big dog title might be Jason Ratliff's here in a few races.
Oh boy, we're stirring the pot for Thanksgiving, folks.
That stuff, I'm not. The stuffing isn't the only thing being served at Thanksgiving by me.
There you look at the Rifleman going by the Gunslinger. That's a difference in tires right there.
Here comes Ripka sliding his way onto pit road. Holy cow.
That's a good entrance right there. He took a real good angle at that.
Yeah, he did. I just didn't think he was going to make it because that car was out of control.
Absolutely. Lester will move up into second. How about that? Tom Lester got the lucky dog. He's parlayed it here into a nice spot on the field. He'll take second place here at the line. Matter of fact, he's going to take the lead as Tony Ratliff comes in.
Something to think about, Dean. These pit stops have cycled things around in a little bit interesting way. Jason Ratliff, by undercutting just a little bit, he has been able to jump Chris Owens on the racetrack. So when everything cycles back around, Ratliff will be leading Chris Owens, and they both have opened up a gap on West Pistol here as the final pit stoppers are starting to come in. Tom Lester, the only driver still out there, is from what I can tell, that hasn't pitted yet.
Yeah, and Jason Ratliff went around Lester. I think that stopped Lester from leading a lap. So Lester going to be a little disappointed not to get that. Owens about a second and a half behind the Rifleman. He's got work to do, and it looks like he is driving the heck out of this thing, Jared.
Yeah, that was sliding, that machine there, and Tom Lester is heading to the apron. Oh, I don't know what happened there, but
Lester a little bit all over. He might be trying to go the distance, but I don't think that's going to work here tonight.
closing speed there as Lester gets passed by Pistol. But yeah, Dean, I mean, you look at this, how this is all shaking out right now. 1.3 second difference between Ratliff and Chris Owens. The key is that Jason Ratliff, even if he can't hold off Chris Owens, he does get those bonus points that have been pretty much consumed by Chris Owens and Chris Owens alone up through these pit stops.
So Pistol got a lot of work to do. He's got the freshest tires here, about 5 laps fresher than Jason, 2 or 3 fresher than Chris Owens. Lester, he vacates. He's on pit road here now.
Well, Dean, I hate to say it, but it took us a race and 1 pit stop. We didn't have any penalties last week, Dean, and 2 pit stops. Tonight we have our first penalty of the year for pit road. It is Todd Gilly penalized for speeding on pit road.
Well, Todd, I want to personally apologize from Wind Tunnel TV for Jared calling you out on that, but it is it is what it is.
But yeah, I mean, haven't had a lot of penalties to talk about this year, Dean, but unfortunately Gilly going to get nabbed for the first one. But right now,
this track here, it's very difficult. I mean, pit road in itself is not especially difficult, but when you're dealing with this track and trying to get on and off at the pit road, it can get you for sure.
Yeah, this one I think is probably the second or third hardest pit road. Dover is probably the hardest. I think that everybody would agree with that.
Darlington can be tricky.
Darlington's pretty difficult, would be my second one, and then this would be third probably. Right now, James Suggs just ahead of our race leaders. He is the last car on the lead lap, so we've got 11 drivers still remaining on the lead lap right now, Dean. So we're getting down to it. I mean, we only got less than 40 to go here as Ratliff. Now the gap down to half a second between our top 2.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I mean, you know, he is going to get run down. Tires matter, and tires for passing people matter. I mean, Owens and Pistol, they can just pass people a little bit easier than Jason Ratliff can because they got a little fresher rubber. So they're going to make up that time when you see lap traffic around.
What I find interesting is you have Jason Ratliff with a 3-lap tire disadvantage to Chris Owens. And Chris Owens has 2-lap tire disadvantage to Wes Pistol. So how will this all play out? We talk about this every week. You know, you can have that tire advantage, Dean, but you have to hold on to it. And you have to be able to level out at the same time. Last week this happened, Dean. We saw contact between Chris Owens and Jason Ratliff off turn 4 when there was a tire disadvantage for Jason Ratliff. And man, you hate to bring that up, but it was part of the storyline last week.
It's always part of the storyline. I mean, we did a race on Sunday. Tony Ratliff, by the way, getting the win. Very exciting. I believe his first win. So that was fantastic to see. But, you know, you had Jason Spear up there, Nick Burris up there. And from run 1, you might have thought, oh, Spear, as Weiss gets the wall, it grabs him a little bit. He's down the track. Around goes Walker. Into the wall behind them is Fleming. So things getting a little loose out here. But the tire advantage run to run can be different. You're talking about Pistol in third. You know, trying to drive the same when you're chasing here late in the race as you did in run 1, almost impossible, Jared.
Yeah, you have to temper yourself, right? You can't burn your stuff off because you see the gap coming down, because the gap is going to come down naturally when you have fresher tires than the guy in front of you. As you see Chris Owens sticking his nose underneath the rifleman man here as I can't talk, getting so excited to see this pass. Here comes Owens. Jason's going to pinch him down just a little bit. Owens washes up the track. This is going to be difficult off turn 2.
Yeah, these two, this is what Pistol needed. Pistol closing from behind. He's seeing this battle. I mean, everybody's doing everything right, but this is helping Pistol immensely.
And you have to wonder if both contact, Owens getting in the back of Jason Ratliff, you know, because of the older tire situation, and Ratliff with the incident on the backstretch is playing in the mind. It's hard to delete that from your mind as you see Owens nearly getting the side of Jason Ratliff here. And boy, I tell you what, Pistol is loving what he is seeing up here because he has now entered my focal point of the view I have, Dean.
And
Here comes Owens right up to next to him. Holy cow, I thought he was going to spin him out.
I think Owens probably had enough at this point, Jared. I don't think he's going to give any quarter here. He does not want to wipe out, but I think he's had enough of the rifleman, and this is going to heat up.
Man, this is difficult because, again, those incidents have to play a part in how you're racing somebody. And you see right there, Jason Ratliff is not giving any quarter. Chris Owens is not giving any quarter. And I wouldn't be remiss to say, Dean, that West Pistol is the best of the 3 cars now at this point.
Oh, he absolutely is, no doubt about it. Now he's right there in this mix, and behind them, Suggs down the track, he hangs on to it. Holy cow.
And now you have lap traffic Rachel Hunt, who is very, she is very aware of what's going on usually in the race. And usually will try to get out of the way as best as she can. But either way, it's still a vehicle that, you start. Sometimes what I find is you get a little target fixation, Dean, and then all of a sudden you start making a little bit of mistakes here. And you see Owens lets off the gas on the middle of the back straightaway for some reason. I don't know what happened there, but West Pistol just blew by him. But Owens now charges back.
Yeah, now what was hurting Jason Ratliff is helping him as these two take to battling. So,
oh my goodness. And Chris Owens just slid that car through turn 1 and 2. There was smoke coming off.
Oh, and he's around.
He's
Owens, heavy damage. Down to the inside wall. The front end destroyed. No caution yet. I can't believe no caution has come out. The front end dragging across the track still. And there it is. Finally, my goodness. What took so long to bring out a caution?
This track very notorious for not having yellows come out for wrecks, and I've seen pileups there, but that's going to save Rachel Hunt from losing another lap, but it's going to end Chris Owens' night for the 2nd week in a row. Dean, I just wonder if he was a little bit frustrated not being able to make that pass, and I just wonder if he started overdriving that machine.
Oh, there's no wonder about it, Jared. He let it get to him. He had the incident with Ratliff last week. I'm sure he was very unhappy about it. And now, when you start to re-engage with someone, you might have let it all go. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. Now I'm re-engaged with you. You're not letting me go. I'm getting angrier and angrier. And then he lost his focus. This can happen. And, it's a tough track, man. It's very unforgiving, Jared.
Yeah, and that car just got word. That car too damaged to repair. So he is done for the night. The driver that dominated this event led pretty much all the laps up into the last, just a little bit, about 25 laps or so, that Ratliff had been the key car. And now this race is pretty much anybody's game at this point, Dean.
This is nuts. Looks like James Suggs going to be your lucky dog as everybody heads on to pit road. Wow, Jason Ratliff barely made it on to pit road. He almost missed it.
Yeah, sometimes when you're trying to fake out the competition, you might fake out yourself.
Suggs, he'll get the wave around and come all the way around. That's your 10th place car. Pistol did a nice job of staying right on the bumper of Jason Ratliff. Ratliff gonna have to hit his marks. A little slow crawling into the stall. We'll see if Pistol can come around. Here comes Pistol at the line. I think it's Pistol. Wow, that was close, Jared.
That I was sitting there watching this happen, Dean, and I'm gonna have to go back and rewind that because that is so close. I don't know how the game made that determination, but
I
here we go.
do.
Yeah,
right at the line. He had him by a nose.
Yeah, he did. He did. Wow, what a job by Pistol. That could be the difference in this race, Dean.
Well, the difference was Jason Ratliff tentative getting into his stall, Jared. And I don't blame him, right? You're in the first stall. You think, okay, no problems here. But when you're that tentative and if someone's aggressive like Pistol was, he takes the lead. This could be the move of the race. And remember, now Jason Ratliff, Jared, he'll be back on the outside. And he's had 2 bad restarts.
2 bad restarts, and now look who's in 3rd position, Dean. Michael Walker the second.
Yeah, he closed him on the track. He'll close him on pit road. Michael Walker, truly the closer. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, bad pit stop from Greg Ratliff. He lost a lot of spots on pit road, the slowest pit stop out of everybody there. Tom Lester, a bad pit stop. He may have had some damage, but that's where a lot of it went to. Tony Ratliff also not a great pit stop. Same with Tom Ashley. So Michael Walker might have picked up some of the spots on pit road.
This is going to get nutty, folks. Watch out. 23 laps to go at the line. Pistol and Ratliff, Walker and Weiss, they're green. And again, it looks like Ratliff's struggling, but Walker a little bit as well.
But this is what a Pistol wants. He wants these guys to have to be side by side or a little bit battling here. And Rifleman going to clear there and get himself up into 2nd position. Further back, it's a gaggle. Jason Spear getting loose there. Ripka on the outside of him, as is Tony Ratliff trying to make up some spots. He lost on pit road. Ratliff with an aggressive move underneath Ripka into turn 1.
Tony Ratliff making moves. Not many laps left. No saving tires here, guys. All out, looking to move forward. Oh, and Ripka loose on the straightaway, wobbling around. And I've seen that out of that car a few times tonight, Jared.
Yeah, he has had some.
Spear!
Jason Spear loose through the grass, holds on to it, but he's going to lose a ton of time. And the 83 machine was battling for a top 5. That is not what he wanted to have happen.
Nope. Through the grass, he'll fall to 10th. He'll be hoping for another caution. Meanwhile, our closer just set the best lap of the race. Michael Walker the second into 3rd. Behind him, Weiss is loose.
And Weiss is going to try to avoid the barrels. He does an amazing job avoiding the pit barrels there at the end of pit road. Holy cow. He's going to lose a ton of time. But this track, hot tires or cold tires on a hot track, it is a recipe here. Ratliff with a little bump to Ripka into 3.
Wow, everything heating up. Top 3 getting away. Battle for the race lead. The Rifleman looking low. Nothing doing down there. Pistol going to hold him off, at least for now.
If I'm West Pistol, I don't care if Jason Ratliff beats me on the bottom, but I'm going to make him beat me on the bottom. You have to protect the top. The top is locked down. Do not let him get to the outside. It does not matter. And you see Jason Ratliff now moving up the track to try to make maybe something happen up there.
As we go back and forth from the battle for the lead, back to Tony Ratliff, Ripka, Tom Ashley, Greg Ratliff, all battling for 4th right now.
Yeah, two great battles on the track involving multiple cars here. As you see, Greg Ratliff with the big slider on Tom Ashley. He's going to pick up a spot just behind there. That's for 6th position.
The big dog doing something late here in this race. Meanwhile, Pistol getting away. Walker trying to close on Jason Ratliff.
Just real quick, while we have just a little bit of a second, shout out James Suggs, up 11 spots, 8th position, Dean. So great job by James Suggs. May have not been his best night ever, as you see Pistol get the wall, but shout out James Suggs, as I did want to get that out before we get deep into these battles.
Yeah, 16 coming down to 15 to go. Pistol right in that middle of the track, making it real difficult on everybody, getting that car nice and wide. Ripka back and forth, separated a little bit from Tony and Greg Ratliff now. Tom Ashley there, James Suggs lurking behind this group.
Yeah, and everybody doing a great job. Dean, you look right now, Michael Walker, the closer, trying to pick up some late race positions. He's going after the Rifleman for 2nd.
Yeah, and I think he'll get him, but it's going to be a hard pass. He tries to send it in, up the track to 55, grabs a piece of the wall. He gets a good run up there, another little piece of the wall. Walker has position. He's got to drive it in, and he will. So the 22 up to 2nd.
That's how you make a pass on the bottom right there, Dean. You make it through the center of turn 2 off the back straightaway, and you complete it when you get back around the next lap. That's how you do it. Michael Walker back to 2nd. Maybe I spoke too early, Dean, about Michael Walker not having the night I expected.
Yeah, he's up 5 into 2nd. I mean, he's doing what he does. Can he get up here and challenge West Pistol for this win? That's a tall order. Further back, you got fourth place Ripka, fifth Tony Ratliff, Greg Ratliff, Tom Ashley, James Suggs is still lurking here in eighth, up 11. Weiss, who got loose down through the grass, I believe, is in ninth. Spear went through the grass. One of them went through the grass. One of them
Both of them did, actually.
had to avoid pit road there.
Yeah, both of them went through the grass. We saved it and almost hit the pit barrels, but saved it. But everybody that you talked about there went through the grass, Dean, and that's our lead lap drivers right there. Michael Walker hits the wall off turn 4. Holy cow! All that hard work getting around Jason Ratliff, and he's giving it away.
Yeah, let's get a replay on how Jason Ratliff got this spot back. Wow, a violent entrance from Walker. Car unloaded on him. He kind of saved it, but then didn't on exit, and there goes Jason Ratliff.
Yeah, that safety barrier kind of juts out, right? I mean, and if you hit it at the right spot, your car, it's not hitting another safety barrier, it's hitting the actual concrete, and that's exactly what happened. He just kind of clipped the end of that safety barrier there, and that was it. All she wrote.
All right, so Pistol in control out front. Rifleman in second, Walker third. Lance Ripka crawling into the picture here. You know, he's been fighting that machine on the long run. On the short run, one of the best out here, so the 52's coming. And he's bringing Tony Ratliff, Greg Ratliff, and Tom Ashley with him.
Yeah, what a job by all these drivers. Everything's starting to come back together. All these drivers starting to concertina back up together, and we might have a bigger battle on our hands than we had just 10 laps ago.
Meanwhile, Ian Spear on pit road. Not sure what happened to him. I think something a few laps back. Hard to tell. Might have been a long time ago even.
Yeah, Ian's been on pit road for a little while. I think he was caught up in a wreck earlier with damage but no caution. Battle, here we go. Ripka trying to get onto the podium here. The battle really is for the lead and the last step on the podium. Don't count out Tony Ratliff. Don't count out Greg Ratliff. Here we go. Ripka, big run here. Oh, Walker's loose, and he has to give up the high side. That's going to pretty much open the door for Ripka to take third position. Can the Ratliffs follow in and take advantage of the 22 machine, who looks like he's losing a little bit of the grip? Oh my goodness, both of them sliding down the track off 4.
So the closer is losing some here in the closing laps. Can he hang on? Greg Ratliff, big run. He'll power off the high side. Tony Ratliff loose on the bottom.
Yeah, the battle for a cordial Thanksgiving is going on behind Michael Walker, because if there's a little bit of an incident between these two, there might not be much talking going on there. Tony loose off turn 4.
They are trying everything here tonight.
5 to go at the line, and our top 2 have skated away from this battle for 4th position. Michael Walker doing everything he can. Here comes Greg.
Oh, and Greg almost turned him on entrance there. He gets clear, though. They go side by side through the corner.
22 machine falling apart here in the closing laps. The anti-closing for the 22 machine. The top 2, it's still the same gap. Pistol still leading, but here we go. Greg Ratliff clears Walker for the 5th position. Here's Tony on the back bumper.
Tony Ratliff next in line. Walker desperately trying to hang on here.
And don't count out Tom Ashley, who's been lurking this entire time back there in 7th position, but he's been in this group the entire time. He wants some spots too. So the battle for 5th is on. 3 cars under a blanket.
Here we go. Tony with a nice run there. A little loose late there. That'll check him up a bit.
Tom Ashley looking to the outside of Tony, trying to interrupt that run, trying to steal a position off the 6th machine. Walker's still loose, trying to desperately to hold on to a top 5 here tonight.
Well, this goes on. Pistol has got about a 0.4 second over Jason Ratliff. I don't think Ratliff can catch him.
Here comes Greg. He's alongside on entry, and Walker just drives it off into the corner to see Jesus there in the middle of the corner and holds him off for now.
Wow, great job by Walker. Final lap, West Pistol in the 98, trying to bring Tennessee, I was going to say. It is Tennessee. Going to bring them a victory. The 98, West Pistol around and through 4. He'll be your winner here in the Rockingham 150. Jason Ratliff second, Ripka third, Greg Ratliff, Michael Walker hanging on for a top 5. Tony Ratliff, Tom Ashley, James Suggs, Ross Weiss, and Jason Spear, your top 10.
Those are all the drivers that finished on the lead lap. We got Shane Fleming and Tom Lester in 11th and 12th, 1 lap down each. Todd Gilly had that speeding penalty, unfortunately. He finishes 2 laps down, was never able to get those laps back. And then Rachel Hunt back there in 14th, 2 laps down. And they were the last remaining drivers on the racetrack. We lost Chris Owens, Ian Spear, Bob Lapreme, Mickey Spear, Herb Ashley, Daryl Spear, and Austin Krause here this evening, Dean. But this story belongs to West Pistol, picking up his second ever victory in the Gen 4 series and his first here at Rockingham.
I find that hard to believe. He's been so good in these cars. And awesome for him to be back in victory lane. You can see how very happy he is here tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at our race results. We went through our top 10. Fleming, Lester, Gilly, Hunt, Owens. I mean, tragedy for Owens late. Overdrove a little bit. You had Spear and Lapreme, Mickey Spear. You can find your favorite driver there. I mean, story of the night was that battle up front, Jared, and it's a continuation from week 1.
Yeah, and you know, again, you have to wonder if that wasn't in the mind of both drivers. I mean, I think that I feel like it's hard not to have it in your mind, whether things were squashed or not, right? I mean, you're still going to race the guy and have that in the back of your head. And I think Chris Owens was frustrated he couldn't get by, lost that position to Pistol, fought back, got it back, and was trying to chase down Jason Ratliff. I think he just used that car up a little bit more than he anticipated, and it sucks because I think it was a great battle that was going on there, and who knows how this race would have turned out. But at the end of the day, it goes to West Pistol, who does get the W and puts his stamp on a championship contention this year.
All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll come back and we'll get some race interviews in. Here at Rockingham, West Pistols sitting down in victory lane. I always appreciate the cars parking down here amongst that checkered pavement. Looking good here, Jared.
Yeah, I wish every track had that ability to do it. That'd be really cool.
Absolutely, it would. Right now, let's get into our race interviews. We'll bring in Lance Buckshot Ripka up 6 spots, finishing 3rd here tonight. Congratulations, Lance.
Thanks, Dean. I was not expecting a top 3 or to be talking to you guys at all tonight, the way that the race was going, but I'll take it.
I mean, I get on this track, I think I might not finish, Lance. Rockingham, a tough deal out there, and it looked like the same tonight. Hot, slick track, hard to tame this sucker, wasn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. It was definitely a tight loose, at towards the middle, late part of the run. It was just kind of tight entry and then causing you to put a little bit too much wheel into it. And then obviously with the horsepower these cars have, you have to be super, super sensitive on the throttle. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, late caution brings in, the in quotations fun. Lance, 22 lap shootout basically. Tell us a little bit about that war you were having down there.
Well, I kind of thought, I was about ready to put full fuel in because I knew how the car would react and not possibly be so tight. But then again, I was thinking, maybe this will tighten me up on the way out, and it did. I was able to drive the car really hard, which was able to, made me able to race those guys aggressive and make some passes. So, and obviously with Michael making a couple mistakes there and allowing me to get around him, um, sure as heck helped.
Yeah, a little surprising there. Michael Walker not prone to mistakes, but he made a couple here tonight. You really didn't, but you were fighting it, Lance. We were watching that car, and what I found interesting, and I usually do, about Rockingham is, the focus is on these corners. They're so difficult. But man, you got to fight it on the straightaways too, don't you?
Oh yeah, especially down that back stretch. There's a certain spot or dip in the track that, if you're wide open, it just likes to shoot you up to the wall. So you just kind of had to feather it through that, know where it's at, so you can get a good entry into three. Um, yeah, the line kind of moved around a little bit. The low line felt good at the beginning, and then the top side came in towards the end.
I noticed that. Were you concerned about the line in one of these corners was kind of like, let's go up to the wall and then cut her down the track, and it got hairy up there. Many people hitting that wall, and that's kind of okay to a point. But if you slam it a little too hard, boy, she's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, especially going into one, if the wall kind of juts out a little bit, and if you tap that going into one, it definitely puts you on a collision course with the wall right in the middle. It turns one and two, so you had to kind of be careful there. And if you tapped it, just woe it up as the best you can and try to stay off that wall. A small little scrape really didn't hurt you, but um, yeah, if you weren't ready for it, yeah, you would have wrecked your race car.
All right. Well, Lance, congrats on third place. An outstanding finish here tonight. We'll give you the mic, my friend. Anybody you want to shout out?
First and foremost, I want to give you guys a shout out. WTTV do a hell of a job every week. Appreciate everything you guys do. Alive Church, East Coast Web Printers, and Kylou Glass for sponsoring us tonight. Shout out to Ripka Designs, all the men and women in service, and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, Jared, you had a happy Thanksgiving in there. That's Lance Ripka, your third place finisher.
Yeah, and I'm down here, Dean, with our runner-up tonight, the rifleman, Jason Ratliff. Congratulations on second place, but I feel like you maybe there was a little bit more in the tank there for the 55 machine tonight.
Yeah, we had a good car. Kind of blew it there on that. Actually, the pitting under that last caution there. Wesley just came out in front of us. He just beat us on pit road, and it's so hard to pass there. Even if I would have caught him after me and Michael was fighting there, I wouldn't have had nothing for him. You can't pass low here. It's just nigh impossible.
Well, let's talk about. We'll start the pit stop. We did notice, like on the broadcast, that you looked a little bit more tentative than you had the last few times on pit road, getting into the stall. Was there something that just kind of came up on you too quick, or do you know what happened there exactly?
I think I was more along the lines of afraid of sliding through my stall because it's such a hot track. It was 130 some degrees, and I know that concrete is slick anyway, so it was in the back of my head. I was like, well, I'd rather play it safe than sorry, and kind of take a little bit tentative entry here and make sure I get woed down and don't have to back up because that just costs you a lot of time.
Yeah, it makes sense. We just happened to notice it. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is the restarts or the starts. I mean, you started on the pole, first start of the night, and you looked like you spun the tires. The second restart of the night, you started on the outside, looked like you spun the tires. Third restart of the night, same story. Was there just something that was going on with the car that was causing you to have problems getting up to speed there?
Yeah, I don't know. I must have just been getting into the throttle too much, or just not easing into it. But it just broke loose, like you said, on every restart. But and the thing is, I didn't have an issue in the pit party. So I must have just been gassing it up just a little bit too much.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the difference. I mean, in this race, so I want to go back and talk about, Chris Owens. So you and him, had your incident, whatever you want to call it, last week, and this week you found yourself battling again side by side. Was the incident last week kind of in your mind at all, or was that completely gone and you're on to this week?
I mean, not really. Just because guys in this league, they're pretty understanding, so they're not really going to take any aggressions out on track. If it is, it's just going to be like over the mic or DM or whatever. So um, yeah, I didn't have that fear, I guess, racing him. Um, I just tried to give him room and stay in my lane, and yeah, we held him off there, short pit, and yeah, that high side is dominant.
Yeah, we've only saw a handful of drivers make a move on the bottom. I think Michael Walker actually was able to pass you on the bottom there at the end of the late run, but I think he got in the wall toward the end of that run. But Jason, I mean, it's the same story as last season. You started off hot, winning races, finishing second, finishing on the podium. That momentum, I mean, it feels like we're looking at a rifleman resurgence just like we had last year.
Yeah, I hope so. Rockingham is actually probably one of my worst tracks, just because I just don't really have a feel for it. I mean, it probably don't look like it, but I'm not as comfortable, I guess I should say, as I am at other tracks. So yeah, high hopes for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we can have solid finishes, at least in the top fives, and maybe bring home a championship.
Well, Jason, you did a great job tonight, and I think the league should take notice if this is a track you don't like, and you did good at it, and we're running consistent here tonight. We head to Texas next week. How are you feeling about that track?
Oh, I like Texas. I mean, it's right up there. Um, just like a lot of the other tracks, I guess, pretty technical and easy on the throttle, easy in, easy out, and just save your stuff. Depends on the track temp how you're gonna kind of have to run, maybe a line difference or what have you. But yeah, I feel pretty good about Texas.
Well, Jason, like I said, had a great run here tonight. I'm gonna turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on your race here this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. Like to thank WTTV putting on a broadcast. Like to thank East Coast Web Printing for Thursday night series, Kylou Glass for this series, Alive Church, and Mike Brown for putting on the Sunday nights, and still keep him in your prayers for a good recovery. Like to thank my team, United Motorsports, all the admins, work behind the scenes, set up the sessions, do all the nitty gritty homework that we don't have to. We just show up and race. So appreciate all them.
All right, Dean, that was our runner up here this evening, the Rifleman, Jason Ratliff.
Yeah, great night for him, but the night belongs to this man, the 98 West Pistol, back in victory lane. Congratulations, West.
Appreciate it. That was a fun race. Glad to bring it home a win.
Yes, sir. Fun and tough, and I mean, had a little bit of everything out here, but maybe the move of the night came on pit road. Tell us a little bit about that last pit under yellow.
Yeah, Jason and I were talking about that a little bit. I don't know that I would have won the race if that hadn't happened. I don't know what I did. It just happened. I feel like I got in my stall a little too conservatively actually, but ended up giving me like a 13.5 second pit stop. I was like, all right, that's pretty good. So I started rolling, and Jason was still sitting in his box as I came around the bend, and I just did beat him across the line. And yeah, that won me the race right there.
Yeah, great. Clean air, obviously a big deal here. Clean track more than clean air, maybe. Very tough to pass out there, Wesley. You were doing it, coming through the field a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your run early on.
Yeah, early on, it was difficult, and the car doesn't handle that great in traffic. But guys are more willing to, a little give and take early in the race like that. So I was able to make up some ground. But once you get toward the front, and then later on, as it gets down to crunch time, it becomes a lot harder. Guys are defending and running the high line and all that. So yeah, the cautions just kind of fell my way, really. I don't know that I would have had much of a shot against Chris or Jason if the cautions didn't fall how they did, but they sometimes you just get a little bit lucky, and that's kind of what happened to me tonight.
Well, I mean, I beg to differ on the luck factor. I think you earned this one, Wes. You look like one of the best cars out there, if not the best car, late in the run. How hard was it out here handling this car? I mean, we've seen a lot of guys getting loose, a lot of guys getting into the wall. Were you hyper focused on keeping that car under you tonight?
Yeah, it was sketchy on the straightaways of all things for some
Yeah.
reason. On the backstretch, it's odd. I guess you're you got a lot of throttle. It almost seems like if it's straighter but with banking, which is the case here, it kind of tries to kick your back end around. Whereas on the you're turning a little bit on the front stretch, so I don't know. It's like you're turning into the slide on the front stretch, and you're not on the back stretch. That makes the back stretch kind of weird. So yeah, this old pavement. It's bumpy. And these cars are super high horsepower. It really makes it for interesting combo sliding around like we were.
Yeah, it certainly does, Wes. And, we've always been impressed with how you drive the car. Very patient out here. I take it that was the same here tonight. I mean, what were you thinking when you have a 22 lap shootout? I mean, I wouldn't say this is necessarily your forte.
I agree. I got a decent restart. I spun the tires quite a bit on the restart, but it was still because I'm the leader. I control it, so I was able to get a pretty good jump. I needed Michael and Jason to race a little bit, and they did, and that helped out a ton. Once I was able to kind of get a little bit of a gap, I was able to just maintain. And then Jason was a little faster right there at the end, but if you could run the high line here, as the tires got older, it was really hard to make a pass on the bottom. So even if he'd got to me, I think I would have had enough to hold him off. So and then thankfully he never did get a chance quite to get to me. But yeah, that restart, that pit road, that last pit stop, that was everything for me.
See, at the end of the race, Wesley, you made your way down to victory lane there. Always nice when you can park the car down there, isn't it?
Yes, I wish iRacing would open up all the infields. I know some of them are open, but it'd be great if every race in iRacing, every racetrack in iRacing was open so we could do fun stuff like this.
Yeah, I can't remember. It might be Bristol now. You can drive on top of the little building there into to Victory Lane. But nonetheless, it was great seeing you get this one and park that car there, Wesley. I'm sure you're thrilled with it too. We'll turn it over to you, my friend. Anybody you want to shout out or thank?
Yeah, as always, East Coast Web Printers, Alive Church, and then Kylou Glass for sponsoring this series. Thanks to everything they do for us. Say hi to my dad. My mom might be awake still. My wife, my in-laws, my cousin Daniel. I think he's having to work tonight, but he might catch the race later. So he's a usual supporter. My uncle Jimmy. Anybody else? Any of my family? If y'all are watching, hello. And we'll see y'all again next week. Go Vols!
Go Vols. Okay. Wes Pistol with the victory here, Jared. A great race by him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a dominant performance by the 98 machine at the end of that run. And Dean, at the end of the day, when we look back at the end of this season and we look back at the races and we think like, how did we get to this point? This is going to be one of those races where we kind of maybe circle. West Pistol was able to hold off the Rifleman. Chris Owens, I don't want to say cracked under pressure, but it surely looked like it. And Michael Walker, maybe even he cracked a little bit under the pressure too. I mean, the closer ended up losing spots at the end of the race, and I think when you go to the end of this season, I have to say the second race of the season, Dean, could be one of those races we kind of look back on and like, wow, that there was some difference makers in that race.
I love it, Jared. A track full of cracks and some drivers showing some cracks here tonight. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. But for myself, Dean Doucette, and for Mr. Jared Carr, that's going to wrap it up here from the Rockingham race. And we'll see you right here next time.